If you are a social media manager, you should know what a social media strategy is. But if you don't know, worry not, because I'm going to explain all that in this video. Social media strategy may sound very fancy, but a strategy means nothing but a plan with which you reach the goals, the social media goals of your clients or the businesses or brands you are working with. Now, what are all the things that you should include in your social media strategy? That's what I'm going to cover in this video. But before I get started with that, I'm Jyotishri. I'm a freelance writer and a social media manager. And if you still have not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. Whenever you start working with a business or a brand, get on a call with your client and ask them what are their goals and decide which KPIs you need to prioritize depending on their goals. So for example, if your client's goals is to generate leads, then you should be tracking whether they are getting enough clicks on their website or whatever link you are providing in their social media. If your client's goal is brand awareness, then you need to create an engagement strategy, a content strategy that brings more eyeballs and more ideal customers to their page. If you don't know what KPIs are, these are basically key performance indicators, and some examples of KPIs are likes, followers, impressions, comments, clicks, etc. Now, when you are already on a call with your client, you might want to ask them if there is something that they have tried earlier which has worked or which has not worked for them. I've seen a lot of people who have made the mistake of buying followers. Yes, people still do that. So if that's something that they have done, you might need to delete those followers and start fresh. So always ask your clients what are the things that they have tried in the past. Also, some clients come to you with the goal of increasing their follower count or getting more likes, and they might have a target of reaching 10,000 more followers in the next 3 months and something like that. In that case, you need to let them know that that is not in your or their hands. You can try to create a strategy that will be of their benefit and that will bring the ideal audience to their page or their accounts. But the number of followers that will grow or the number of likes that they will start getting, that is not something that you can decide or you can promise. So for example, when I'm working with my clients, I just look for a month-on-month increase of all the metrics that I am tracking, and that's how I decide if there's enough growth. And my clients also do not go after the vanity metrics. The next step is to know the ideal client avatar of your clients. Now, this is not something that should be a problem, because when you are working with a business, they already know who their ideal client avatar is. So they have already done that research, that market research, and they have found out their ideal personas, and basically they can tell it to you on the call itself, or they can send you a document that has all the details. If your client is conveying it to you on a call, on a video call, you might want to record it with your client's permission, because that's something you might need later on when you are trying to create the strategy for them or when you are trying to do some research for them. Knowing the ideal client avatar is very important, because your strategy will be based on that. So for example, if the ideal persona is Gen Z, then I'll try to create content, or my messaging will be in a tone that appeals to them. So I'll be friendly, I'll be quirky, and I'll be casual. I'll maybe share a lot of memes and things like that. But let's say if I'm working for a B2B company and the ideal persona is not Gen Z and they are business people who are not so casual, then my messaging will be in a more formal tone. It will still be friendly, but maybe I won't share as much memes, or I will try to convey the messages or the content in a more formal way. So knowing the ideal client avatar is very, very important. If you don't know what that is, It is basically which people or which businesses your client is targeting through their business. So you might want to know what these people do, what is their age, their location, what social media channels they use, what kind of content they enjoy the most. When you have these information, it will become very easy for you to create your content strategy or write the copy for your posts and things like that. Now the third step is to do competitor research. This is something that your client can help you with. Maybe they have already done it in the past and they can provide you all the details that you need. But if not, then you may have to do it. You might want to find out who are the people who are doing the same business and try to see what they are doing in their social media pages. Now remember one thing, when you are doing competitor research, you will not copy anything from them, but you will see what is working for them, what is not working for them. You might want to go to the comment section on their posts and find out what are the audience saying, what are not there and they would like to have. And these are things that you can then take into your strategy and implement in your content, the pieces that you write. In this way, you will be able to use that gap to bring in more audience to your business or to your client's business. Also, keeping an eye on the competitors is not something that you do once and then forget. This is something you would want to do every month to keep a check on what's going on in the market and what is everyone else doing. Now the next step is to decide which social media platforms you want to use. Now your clients may already have decided the social media platforms and they might already have some presence. In that case, I would ask you to go on those profiles and check what's going on, audit those profiles, check all the data, check how many followers they have, check how much engagement they are getting, how much impressions they are getting, how many clicks they are getting, and things like that. You can take a note of this data, because whenever you start working with this client and maybe after a month when you will try to show them the transformation that your service has brought, then this data will be very useful to showcase that. Also, when you are auditing their platforms or their social media presence, you might also be able to find out what is it that is going good for them, what is it that is not going good for them, or if there's something wrong that they are doing. In that way, you will be able to create a better strategy for them, which will obviously bring better results. When you go back and audit your clients' profiles or the work that they have already done, you might find out such mistakes that you will need to rectify so that they can start getting results. Now, after you are done with all these, you will need to create a process for them. The steps that I have already mentioned basically almost covers what a social media strategy is, except that you will need to create a content calendar. But before that, you should also create a process for them, which is deciding which platforms you are going to use for scheduling the content, if that's what you plan, which platforms you are going to use to create the content calendar, how you are going to share the content pieces with them, how will you take the approval, if there's any guidelines or anything that your client has shared with you, where will you save or keep them for reference. So you need to create an entire process and let your clients know about it. For example, for my client, I used Trello to create the content calendar and also to add the content pieces there and take my client's approval. So that's something you need to figure out. Also, for scheduling, I use Buffer or the inbuilt schedulers that the social media platforms already have these days. Communication, I use WhatsApp or Gmail or Slack. So this way you need to decide your processes and let your clients know about it so that they can get back to you and you can have a smooth interaction, as little friction or no friction at all. Now, after you're done creating this process and briefing your client on it, Next thing you need to do is create a content calendar, and this is the last step of creating a social media strategy. After you create a content calendar, you need to create content pieces, but that is a different thing. Now, when you are trying to create a content calendar, you need to remember which were your goals and try to create content pillars based on that. Based on those content pillars, you will decide what content pieces you are going to post on which days. For example, if I'm creating a content calendar for one of my clients, maybe I will use a spreadsheet for that. I will put down all the days of the months, and I'll decide what I'm going to do. One day let's say one day I decide to post a poll on LinkedIn. Now, I will mention that in the content calendar. Along with that, I will also mention that what will that content piece do? Will it build brand awareness? Will it be used for lead generation and things like that? So for every content piece, you need to think of 1 or 2 goals and you need to tie it back to that. That's what I do in my content calendar, so that the client knows what this content piece is going to do and why I am planning to create it. Now, once you are done creating the content calendar, you can send it to your clients for approval and them know that if they have any feedback, they can get back to you or make any edits and things like that. So that's basically it. That's a social media strategy for you. If you are a social media manager, even if you are not a social media manager, if you are a content creator, you can do this for yourself to create a proper plan and to have a consistent content creation schedule. And if you are a social media manager, I hope this helps. So that's it for today. If you still have not subscribed to this channel, consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, like it, and if you have anything to share, anything to ask, please do that in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.